Hello and welcome to the second episode of the HattersChatters podcast in association with HattersMatters. Today I'm joined by Ben, Frank and Charlie, who replaced Kieran and Stephen from last week. Their Twitter accounts, they'll be in the description below. How are we doing, gentlemen? We all good?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Tough week, no county, because obviously we've had a COVID situation. We have had a bit of a problem with COVID. Do we know how many players have tested positive? I think it was.
I think it's about.
I think it's about 3 or 4.
Remember about Richie Bennett, isn't it?
I saw Richie Bennett. You said about Richie Bennett in the lineup against Rochdale.
Yeah.
Bennett didn't play against Rochdale because of COVID. Because I think Jim said his wife had COVID. I want to say, or
yeah, I think it was a friend. Yeah.
Does anyone have Jim's specific words on what he said? Because
I believe that he said that he replied to someone on Twitter and said that Richie Bennett's partner, who works within the healthcare system, has, and I think that Richie Bennett has tested positive among, well, according to Notts County's Twitter, they said multiple players. So that infers that obviously it's more than just Richie Bennett. But nevertheless, I mean, we'll go into the standard 2 week quarantine, I suppose. Some of them are isolating, and some of them, Jim said, are going into kind of the pre-season starting regime of kind of home fitness and going on daily runs and stuff like that. So they're not at Carrington, basically.
Okay, because this could derail our FA Cup, couldn't it? We'll have to forfeit should we not recover in time, and we'll miss Hartley. Who did we miss today? Dagenham,
yeah.
Thinking it was Dagenham, Hartlepool, and Eastleigh will miss.
Yeah.
From the podcast, we wish everyone a speedy recovery if they watch this. I hope Richie Bennett would watch the podcast in his spare time. Can't think of a better thing to do.
Exactly.
What do we make of the FA Cup draw, Ben? What do you make about Yeovil?
Well, obviously looking at it on Monday, I was again hoping for, I'd say, like a lesser team within the draw, and I think we did get that. But obviously, it's the FA Cup. It's the magic of the cup. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. They've not won all year, and they could come and turn us over. But out of everyone that we possibly could have got, I would say it's a good draw.
Charlie, what do you think, Yeovil?
It's one of the easier draws we could have had, considering they've not won a game this season. I would have preferred someone like Canvey at home, but we just don't know what to expect with them.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's the best draw that we could have got. I mean, to be honest, at the time I was thinking, let's get someone like Canvey, or if we draw Portsmouth away, so be it. But the fact that we have got Yeovil, they're in such a vulnerable position at the moment, and I mean, kind of forgetting about the COVID thing almost, because we can't really control that. I feel like it's a really good draw for us, because they, as I say, they're just such a vulnerable team. A draw against Woking, when you're aiming to win the title, when Woking's still part time, I think, is really not a good look at all. And considering the form we were in before the players went into isolation, hopefully we can go away and win that game.
Yeah, because we'll only have a week or less preparation for that Yeovil game. Jim likes the preparation, but I'm sure he'll have something lined up. He won't waste these 2 weeks in isolation. Every minute spares probably into county for Jim or his family, which we love to see. Although county is his family in certain aspects, I believe. Anyhow, speaking of Yeovil, Matty Warburton, he returned there and he got his first goal today. Who did they play?
Woking.
So Drew with Woking, last minute goal. Yeah, I think Is Daryl Sall? Do we think he's under a bit of pressure? Maybe at Yeovil, considering they were their ambition was top 7.
I think he's got to be,
They'll
hasn't
be
he?
under a bit of pressure at the minute, considering where they are in the league table.
Can you see the Barrow?
We just need things to change soon, otherwise they'll be out the door and they'll bring someone else in to try and get them back in the playoffs.
Yeah, fair enough. Frank, what do you think? Do you reckon they could do a Barrow? Reckon they could show up a bit?
I feel to an extent they can, but really on the scale of things, I don't. It's not. I can't imagine it. Maybe it's me being cynical. We know that crazy things can happen at this level. But personally, I feel it's a bit of a tugging at the strings to try and get that to work out for them.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Ben, how long can you see Yeovil staying in that bottom 4 for? Bottom 3?
I think they'll end up finishing around like mid-table, pushing for the playoffs. But looking at their last run of about 5 games, they've only managed to score 2 in 5. So yeah, obviously that shows you they're lacking a bit of confidence up front. So I don't, unless they again Warburton starts firing, they might be in a bit of a sticky situation for the whole year. But
I also saw on Twitter that their striker doesn't want to be at the club anymore, and he got 26 goals, I think, last season.
Who is it? Is it Courtney Doofus?
Reece Murphy.
Oh, okay. So maybe a bit of a behind the scenes going on at Yeovil. I mean, personally, I can't see him in the bottom 3. I think we discussed last week who we thought would be in the bottom 3, and I think we said Barnet and Dover might be in there with one of the promoted sides, either a Kings Lynn or maybe an Altrincham, who both lost today. Kings Lynn 5-1 to Sutton, who, again, Sutton are near us. Do we reckon they could get in the playoffs? I think they may be dark horses.
I can see it happening, to be fair. I mean, they challenge every season. Obviously the famous FA Cup, I say success. I mean, they got to the 4th or 5th rounds, I remember. I think 5th round it was in 2016. So that, Sutton are a team which are always going to challenge. I think it almost at this stage, calling them the dark horses is kind of a bit late, really. I think at this stage, Sutton are consistent challengers to the playoffs in the National League. And I feel, obviously more than teams like Chesterfield. And I think, that they'll challenge, they're doing as well, if not better, than Notts County at this stage in the season. So I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Obviously, I was very surprised how they started off. When we played them last year, I didn't think, obviously, because it was 2-0-0s, it was quite flat games. I could see them obviously being around mid-table, but I never thought they'd start off like this. But again, they've played lesser teams, I'd say, and they've got quite a few hard games coming up. So I'd be very surprised if they manage to keep that by the end of November, going into December time.
Yeah, fair enough. Another team that are in and around Sutton, Hartlepool and Eastleigh. I know we both mentioned them earlier, but that game was postponed today, which I guess is probably one of the better scenarios for us because, well, if we've got a backlog of games, let's hope the teams around us will have a backlog of games maybe. That was called off due to a waterlogged pitch. Now, can anyone think of any classic county games called off? I think there's the infamous Hideaway that was postponed in about the 90th minute or something like that. Do we have any others? I thought Gateshead away when we went down was a rearranged fixture. But do we have any others?
We had Nuneaton at home a few years back.
Yeah, we've had.
It was middle of February time, and they got called off because of frosty pitch, I think. And they announced it about 30 minutes before kick-off as well.
I think we had, you talk about Nuneaton. I feel as though I'm kind of thinking maybe it's Nuneaton or maybe it was even another game where it got called off at about 1:30 in the end. And I remember I was at home kind of about to leave the house like 10 minutes later. and then I got a notification saying the match had been postponed later on. So I'm not sure.
I think it was Tamworth. I think.
It might have been. It was in the north for certain. But I mean, in general, our pitch seems to be really, really good. I mean, we already know that, but it seems to last out well, even in really drastic circumstances. And when it has been, when it has been called off, other than, really severe weather, it seems to have been just because of the referee, rather than the actual condition of the pitch.
Yeah, I think we had a game called off last year, didn't we, against Dagenham at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, that got called off, didn't it? Because obviously the person who committed suicide on the track.
Oh, yeah.
It's everyone, because I think, who was it? I think Dover had gone all the way to Barrow, bless them. And they, obviously, that had to be called off, which was not ideal.
Yeah, they couldn't get there on the trains. That was terrible.
Yeah. But I remember one, I remember the old Vauxhall Motors, if everyone remembers them. We had them discarded at home, so I ended up going to Bolton Millwall that day. But yeah, gutted I couldn't get my Vanarama fixed for the day, so that's the league football.
Vauxhall Motors, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Glen Rule plays for them now in the same tier of as Cheadleaf Nomads. So I think the legend of Glen Rule, I think he's a player that's dropped off. I reckon he could still do a job at National North level. I don't know about you, but I'm surprised that he's dropped that low.
Just need to make sure he puts his gum shield in so he stops biting people. Might be okay.
Well, didn't someone say that player who he bit should have been sent off before him or something like that?
I think it was, but again, he was one of them. He was a bit of a hothead. You can't let your emotions get you better of you in terms of that situation. So it's like
Harry Winter.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
what a legend.
I have to say, Jim's got the best out of players that are sort of hot-headed. I think if you remember Luis Montrose when he originally came, I think that he was quite hot-headed. I think he got sent off in a home game. I can't remember who it was, but it was late on. But then he didn't get a red card under Jim when Jim came in, and I actually remember one of his first games failed.
Yeah, well, obviously, we're talking about game postponements. I mean, what do we think about kind of the rest of the season? In terms of postponements, do we think that the season's going to? I mean, the other day, I just thought it seems to be almost a popular view now that people think that games are going to get postponed, and that the season will inevitably kind of be postponed itself or cancelled in the near future. But I mean, I'd personally, my opinion's strong on that. I don't think in any case, unless it's to do with the government, that the season should be suspended, because it's so important to local communities. But I do feel it's a bit of a risk.
Yeah, they've cancelled non-elite football now, haven't they? Below the National League North and South.
Yeah, sorry about that little technological error. But no, you're right there, Charlie. I think it's a bit of a crazy call to call Buxton versus Grantham off, if you know what I mean. I think that's a bit of a. I don't think there's any harm going to be done from going to Buxton versus Grantham. I can understand it if it's maybe South Shields and FC United of Manchester, because they're actually two fairly big, fairly well supported teams for that level. But you can't call one game off and not another. So I guess I see the government's point there. But again, yeah, they'll have to extend the season is what I'm trying to say, because there's no way you can have the Northern Premier League having played 10 games by Christmas.
Yeah.
So yeah, the season will have to get extended.
Although summer it'll be, what a spring summer it'll be next season. Talks this morning in the papers about the Euros perhaps being moved to the UK. So, I imagine, I don't want to tempt fate. I'm not going to say anything about counties maybe success in the future. However, you can imagine a April, May, the running, finally being able to go back to games, even perhaps if everything works out, 6,000, 7,000 packed in Treasury Park, touch wood, it might not happen. But imagine if that happens and then we go into, May, June, July, August, and, we're in the Euros and England are playing at Wembley. That would be some summer to behold. But as I say, touch wood.
Yeah, I agree. Ben, what are your thoughts on leagues below the National North being cancelled?
Well, obviously it's tough because you've got a lot of teams struggling financially. But again, it's the whole thing of keeping people safe. That's the main priority right now. But as you said, it's kind of hard thing because obviously you've got so many teams up in the north that are going to different places, say an hour and 2 hours away, that it's really, again, not safe if you're having the following that FC do. But yeah, I personally, I'd say if it goes beyond closed doors, it should be fine. But again, the football without the fans is nothing. So that's where my viewpoint stands on it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Can we see our league being postponed at any stage?
No, I don't think so personally.
I think in terms of with Boris, when he managed to give us all the grants for the National League, so I think that could have been all right. Because obviously I saw a few things on the news and the CEO was saying how obviously it was well needed. But I think in terms of the way they dispersed it wasn't ideal because you only had Bournemouth who get about 400 and the amount of money they got compared to like a team like York who are getting 2,000-3,000 every week is considerably less. So.
Yeah, I think the distribution of that money was a bit wasn't equal from what I call it. I seem to recall though that we got a quite high proportion of it though.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to blame.
We got what I heard at the time is that so the clubs like Chesterfield, Notts and County, all got quite substantial sums. I think because we're in the National League, not the National North or South, and we get high attendances. I think that was easy for them. I also think that it's easy to do it on attendances in the National North and South, so I don't know how on earth they've managed to mess that one up. But I think that we've got quite a bit in our league. I mean, talking of that, there was a letter written to the National League asking for the resignation of the chairman, I believe, from a group of clubs who weren't getting the money that they wanted. Does anyone know anything else about that? I'm not completely.
I saw that Hereford did it. That's the only thing that I've seen about
it. Did Fylde sign it actually?
I think they did actually.
Yeah, so that may ring a bell actually. Although I can sort of see why they may want the resignation of the head of the National League, but it's tough luck on them. But yeah, no, I've not heard a lot on it. So yeah, I think it'd be a bit far to push for the resignation of the National League chairman. Although they are a bit if I may say so myself, I think they do have a bit of clownery about them for recall them suspending Jim 3 months after an incident he played in the Brackley game versus us v Brackley, and then suspending him 3 months later, which I think was a bit crazy. But no, yeah, that's the lack of class from the National League, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll move on. What do we make of the renaming of the South Stand, or the Pop Side as it was now, to what is it? Can't remember the name. It's something to do with
Together Stand, I think.
The Together Stand. As the lyrics to our famous chant about West Ham and Palace, I think it is. I don't think they'll be getting buried under the Together. So yeah, what do we make of that? As Mark Stott, has he gone for a bit of money, losing a bit of? I don't know. What's our opinions on it?
If it's getting money in for the club, it's a good thing. But I don't think nobody's going to call it a Together Stand. It'll just be known as the Pop Side. It's what it's been called for years, and everyone will still sit by that.
Yeah, I agree. Ben, what do you think?
Well, obviously, you get a few people on Twitter who love to have a moan about everything, but I think it's a good thing for the club. Again, it's another sponsor. It's more money getting flooded into the club. And the whole thing about when the Cheadle End got renamed the Pioneer Cheadle End, just because it had a sponsor next to it, it doesn't make any difference. You're not going to say, all right, where are you sitting? Oh, the Pioneer Cheadle End. You just say the Cheadle End. So on that note, it's not really that big of a thing. As he said, to change the name of Edgeley Park to the Via Arena or something like that, that's where we'd be thinking, hold on a minute, what's going on? But again, it's nothing that is generally affecting anyone apart from the sponsors. So
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of the Cheadle End, what do we make of the massive, beautiful Illuminous logo on our brand new cladding? Again,
it's gorgeous.
Or I think, yeah, I do.
I can't say much. Well, I'm not saying that no one else can speak, obviously, but there's not much more that I can say personally other than it is a very, very gorgeous thing. I wouldn't mind having one of those myself and my bedroom, put it that way.
I saw a person moaning at it because one of the lines wasn't in line with the badge on the stand. Stupid.
People will find
that's the
something
problem,
to moan
Charlie.
about.
Yes. You can't please everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to go and pick some kits for me little cousin. It was his 8th birthday the other week, so I went to just go and have a look at it, and oh wow, it was amazing. Just obviously just seeing that when you're walking down on a Tuesday night, and you get that feeling. It's just like wow, just the development that Markstock's brought in has just been immense. So
how do we take our sort of rebranding of the ground? Rebranding's not the right word there, but how do we take our ground to the next level? Surely something has to be done about the Danny Bagara stand, but what it's quite limited what we can do. We've seen a change in dugouts, but how far can we go with the rest of our ground? What do we upgrade it? Any ideas?
I feel like I'm really excited for the future of Edgeley Park. I mean, I think kind of if we were to move stadium, it wouldn't be anywhere near as much exciting as the future developments of Edgeley Park, because we've just lived and kind of seen so many memories there. And the idea, especially with the main stand, so, going on to the main stands, I feel as though, from what I've heard, I think it would be possible to replace the roof. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a qualified architect at all. I'm doing French A level. I don't know anything about roofing at all. However, I believe that you'd be able to there. And with the pop end, I think that what they'd probably do is build a new pop end. I'm calling it the pop end, not the south stands, just for now. But I think the railway ends and the pop ends, the ideas I get from social media and what other people are saying is that they will in the future be rebuilt. He wants to extend the capacity to, 17,500, something along those lines. So, it's just really exciting.
17,500. I've not heard that number before. Was that something he said in his interview?
Interview, yeah. So I do think we have a lot of positives that we can do. Obviously, we can build on the old Together stand, but we've got another thing. Again, the Cheadle End can fit about 5,000-6,000, so I think that's not a major area for concern. Definitely. And so can the away fans. If we hopefully get it back into league football, I wouldn't mind not putting a roof on there, because if the away fans are, say, I don't know, like a Salford game, if it could actually rain on them, I really wouldn't be bothered. So, and how it is.
That's fair enough. But I do think we'd all love a roof on that away end. Just feels too open. I don't know about your vibes. I'd get proper ground vibes off. I'm not saying our ground isn't proper, but I'd just get like a different kind of vibe off a roof on that.
Backed in with the atmosphere, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It'll create a more interesting atmosphere. But I actually think if we were to revert to, I don't know, like the old days, I think it'd be a good idea if we could have home fans in that like away end, if you know what I mean. So the players are attacking both home ends and just put all the away fans in the pop side, because there is actually the old I think it's the old gate at the back of the away end. So I'd be interested in having our players attack 2 home ends, if you know what I mean. Obviously, the Cheadle end is still, it encourages the players to get forward, but it doesn't work if you're hitting another end, if you know what I mean. So I'd be interested in having home fans in both ends. But development of the ground for the foreseeable future. I mean, we do have a bigger ground than, or the same size as Bournemouth's, but I don't know how far we can go with that.
I mean, it's about getting higher attendances as well. Obviously, we can't have a bigger ground and then not get attendances. But I do think that there's a capacity around Stockport for fans to come to the grounds. I mean, obviously, people are going to be begrudging to having, plastic Man United and City fans come to the ground. But I do feel that we have got to embrace that in the next few years. If we're going to kind of bring Football League football back to Stockport. And what I'm saying is a massive area around, now that Macclesfield are, right down in the doldrums in North West Counties League. And, you stretch out to Poynton, you're all the way into the Peak Districts. You've got quite a high population out there. You go up to Hyde, you go up to Ashton. I mean, who wouldn't want to come to a brand new renovated Edgeley Park in the future? So I think I can understand why he wants to gradually renovate the grounds. And if he wants to be in the Championship by 2027, then I can see us reaching those attendances, and I'd hope so.
Do we reckon we can get Championship by 2027?
It's doable.
I think it'd be very difficult.
Yeah.
Difficult.
Go on.
Difficult but doable.
I think a lot depends on this season, surely, because Mark's still be looking at the bounce back effect on League Two, if you know what I mean. So the number of teams that win the National League and then go up from League Two. I mean, we've seen it in the FA Cup actually quite recently, the amount of non-league sides that have beaten League One and League Two sides. So yeah, Ben, do you think 2027 is doable? Hypothetically saying, if we get promoted this season.
Well, as you would mention, Alex, what you said about the FA Cup, there's a lot of upsets which have occurred last week, so it shows you again like the gap of not league compared to league football is shortening all the time. And I do think, obviously, what Mark said in his interview as well is this is the hardest league we're going to get out of, because again we've only got one automatic place, whereas if we went up to League Two, you've got 3, so you've got you've got a load of area to go for. But I think personally, yes, if we make it out of the league this year, it's a lot more doable than, say, if we stay in next year and we have problems. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Any other points on the agenda, lads, for this week's podcast?
I was just going to say about the FA Cup draws, there's some interesting draws if anyone wants to draw up on that.
Yeah, haven't surely got Portsmouth, I want to say, or Peterborough?
No, got Peterborough away.
Peterborough.
They're top of League One, so it'll be hard for. Well, they beat Wigan last round, so.
Yeah, well, Wigan are in free fall. I mean, John Sheridan was on a 1-month contract. I don't know if you knew that, but he was on a 1-month contract that it'd get renewed every week. So, and now he's gone to Swindon because Richie Wellens has gone to Salford. Well, just an interesting point on another ex-Hatter. Sam Walker has left Chorley.
Oh, yeah.
Do we know why? Because that was a really short stint there. Has anyone got any clues?
We know Chorley weren't doing very well, don't we? But it kind of shocks me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Sam Walker's moved a lot of clubs now. He signed for Macclesfield originally, didn't he?
That is a good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
clubs.
So he moved to. I mean, a few of our players have had unsteady starts at their new clubs. We look at Elliot Osborne. He was going to be playing in the National League with Stevenage, and now he's playing in the Football League. And who did he score against was it the EFL Trophy? He scored against someone. Yeah. So we've got a few players doing things that they didn't expect to be doing when they signed for their respective clubs in August.
Yeah. Well, Stevenage haven't had a great start either. They've had one win in their opening 12, I want to say, which is be worrying form for them, although they did stay up last season, well, technically with 3 wins throughout the whole year, which is, you know, they got very lucky due to the demise of Macclesfield. But can we see Mac doing a Wimbledon, if you get what I mean, or Bury? Because obviously Bury have been out, but I think Wimbledon are the prime example of how to go from nothing, how to go from something to nothing back to something again. So can we see Mac bringing themselves back into the Football League in a rapid time?
Well, it all just depends on investment, because obviously you had the whole thing of obviously them getting bought out by a guy who owns Stockport Town, I believe. But what I understand is he let the club obviously go back to where the North West County League without taking them over. So I don't know where his morals are personally on that front. But again, it says that football investment is a major key in terms of being where you want to be. So it all depends financially, Alex.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Any other comments?
I think that they I can see it happening. I can see it happening, but at the same time I feel as though they've kind of got a few more hurdles to conquer than Wimbledon did. In that they're planning, almost the fact that they're so aspirational, it could be kind of their biggest wall in a way. In that they're trying to make the pitch into a 3G pitch, and if it gets to the National League and then they want to get to the Football League, then they'll have to remove that 3G pitch and spend quite a bit of money. And I don't know, it's going to be a long way back for Macclesfield. And it's horrible to see them. One of my first ever football games was a Macclesfield game. Not that I'm a Macclesfield fan, obviously, all my allegiances lie elsewhere. But I hope that they can. But I think there are quite a fair few hurdles along the way, as I was saying.
Yeah. Any comments, Charlie, on whether you reckon Mac will do it back?
It'll take them more than 15 years, in my opinion.
Wow, more than 15, because the National North is obviously a very tough league.
Yeah.
Much tougher than when Wimbledon came up. So I think I remember Berry's new owner, or whoever it is. I think I remember them saying he'll finance them to the National League, but then that's it, because you need more than money to win the National League, which I would agree with. You need money and the right manager, and I think we've got it. I do think we've got it. Jim's not a National League manager. He isn't a National League manager. I think, although it does beg the question as to why he was managing Northwich though a few years ago. Surely there would have been a job for him in the Football League, or at least back in non-league. So that is an interesting one as to why Jim went deeper into non-league. But yeah, any last points?
I was just going to say, in terms of venturing into non-league, I feel as though he's quite a local man in terms of his managing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, which clubs has he managed? He's managed County.
Motherwell before.
Motherwell, right?
Motherwell,
Okay.
Port Vale, Peterborough, Northwich. Yeah, that's it.
So I mean, mainly he's not ventured down south. I don't believe. Obviously, Motherwell is that's quite a anomaly in that pattern. But in terms of the clubs that he's managed, so I think he likes to stay quite local. So I mean, all the players. I don't think it's bad that he's been to Northwich at all, because a lot of the players we've got now, is it Alex Reed was here?
I know Gordon Williams was. Yeah, Bennett as well. Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, that's a fair point. And even in the past, we've had Northwich players. Michael Clark.
Duxbury was from
Dux. Yeah. Dux went there. I think there was maybe some more. Josh Amos, can't forget Josh Amos. Who could forget?
Bradford Park Avenue.
What a day that was, Bradford away. Yeah, what a day Bradford away was.
And the following season as well.
just a question. What was a better Bradford away, Jimmy Ball's winner or the 2 late goals?
The 2 late goals.
For Amos, and I think it was an own goal or / Danny Lloyd that day. 2 late goals. What about you, Ben? Do you prefer?
Oh, I'll probably say my favourite for Park Avenue away day was on Tuesday night when they managed to score from the halfway line.
Yeah, what a night that was. I was there.
That was probably the first times where obviously we were doing mid-table, got a little bit of a run together, and that night I remember just coming back in the car just thinking, are we ever going to get out of this league? It was not good for the heart, to say the very least. But it's sort of to me a point about Jim Gannon. Obviously, we said about his managing. I think what he does very well is he's really good at developing players to exceed their potential. Because obviously, you looked at the side that he had at Northwich now. You know, Jordan Williams, who's now with us, Richie Bennett, who's now with us, Jimmy Ball, who's playing for Solihull, but he was playing at Stevenage. He had, again, like Ian Howard, who obviously played for County, so he had a good base of players when he was managing there. So, and obviously with Duxbury as well. So I do think in terms of his managing, he can do to bring players up, which is why I think obviously it will help for if we have Gannon next year, it could help us really solidify in League Two.
Yeah, I agree. Just one thing about that Bradford away game. That was the first time I ever heard the chant Arthur Brownlow, and I don't think I've forgotten it. But it is yeah. Just on that Jim comment, in that FA, because he went on an FA Cup run, Jim did, and he actually came up against Chris Wilder and Dominic Calvert-Lewin of Northampton. So they only lost 3-2, and considering they were part timers, I don't think it would have been a fluke. I genuinely think Jim would have had a sort of a professional approach towards that game. And I know I'm reviewing a game in the FA Cup from maybe like 7 years ago or something, but I don't think Jim doesn't change, and that can be a good and bad thing, because I think he's changed now in terms of how he's managing us. I think he's adapted to a new scenario, but then again, just in terms of formation, that is. But then again, we did see a 3 at the back last year, and I don't think we saw it in the National North.
No, didn't see it.
Played 4-2-3-1. But what I was also saying is, in terms of with Gannon, the way we've defensively set up now, I think he's obviously quite like a defensive coach. It's like last week, obviously, we could have tried to go on the break, but like the whole of the second half against Rochdale, we defended superbly. So I think as long as you've got a team which all know each other's jobs and where you need to be position-wise, I think it's a very dangerous mix. So, yeah, it's a very key element to succeed, and I believe that we have that this year.
I think it's the first time in his management. I mean, when he was managing Port Vale, did he have the funds behind him to succeed? I wouldn't say he had that many funds. Obviously he wouldn't at Northwich. And even at Motherwell, you know, now he's at a very, very well backed team in County. You know, he's got the capital to succeed, and I think that he feels as though he's got to change. You know, he's got people behind him, Simon Wilson. You know, he's got a lot of people around him, and whilst I hope that they don't influence his management too much, because, you know, we know that Jim's not stubborn, but he likes to stick to his own ways. So, you know, we know that, and we don't want him to be influenced any bad ways by other people. But I feel as though the fact that he does feel as though we have to change can help the club quite a bit. You know, I was surprised last season when we made a substitution at half time for the first time like ever. You know, where Jim Gannon's substitutions are always in the 60th minute. We bring one or two subs on.
Jim doesn't do half time subs, which is quite unique. But I feel like we'll see more of them now. But I also get the sense of he feels the pressure, and he's under pressure due to obviously Mark Start, and as we were saying earlier, the demands for us to get out of this league so we can win the next league, if you know what I mean. So I think he's feeling a lot of pressure. Any comments about that, Charlie? A lot of pressure?
Now my mind's gone blank.
I say he's feeling the pressure because obviously, but in terms of the financial backing he's got, we've got so many, as we were mentioning last week, we've got so many versatile players that we can have players. We don't just have a starting 11 and then it's like we go weak. There's always like people like maybe Croasdale. Who else have you got? You've got Stott maybe come off the bench. Jennings again, just strengthen them up at the back. Say if we're trying to keep about a 2-0 lead. So, I definitely think in terms of he's feeling the pressure, but in terms of, I don't think Jim will feel the pressure as much as we believe him to, because obviously the backing that he's got, and I think the belief he has in the players that he signed. So,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Gilmore as well.
Oh, Gilmore, yeah.
They rate him so highly at Tranmere. I think Connor Jennings, I don't know why I think this. I mean, I can imagine it. Connor Jennings probably put a word in for him because he gave him Tranmere. But he sounds like a very, very good, tricky young winger. Definitely something to bring to the team. And I don't know when he's going to be coming back. Does anyone else know?
I think mentioning about Harvey Gilmore, you obviously, I think we had Jim said on Twitter that he's coming back to full fitness, which again, this little lockdown period that we've got of no games might actually help us in terms of getting everyone back to full fitness. Obviously, we had Jordan Williams who came back last week, but he'd had a bit of a niggle for about 2-3 weeks. So again, the disadvantage of having no football, it sucks for us. We've not got anything to do really on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But obviously, if we've got everyone fresh-faced and ready for Yeovil on the 28th, and we push on from there from November, we could be sitting top by Christmas, which would be lovely.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Who's our first league game after Yeovil? Do we know?
I want to say, I think we've got Bromley and Barnet away, and then
that rings a bell.
Yeah, they ring bells.
So
Bromley and Barnet. I mean, Bromley are a strong side. I think everyone forgets about them, but they are. Who's their manager? I can't remember. I always forget his name. Neil. I've got the word Neil in my name.
Yeah, I've got Neil in my head as well.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but he's a good manager. Manager we can't underestimate. And
Barnet. Bromley, Barnet, and then Sutton.
Yeah. Oh, so three games that we need 9 points from.
Yeah.
Really. But yeah, we'll have to pick up where we started. We'll have to pick up where we ended. Sorry. So hopefully we can make that push for because I'm assuming that we'll be mid-table by the time we're back, considering everyone else will have played 3 more games than us. So yeah, hopefully we can find ourselves back in that promotion chase. Just before we end, I know it's a couple of weeks away, but do we think we can beat Yeovil? And how comfortably?
With the form they're on at the minute, I think we've got a strong chance of beating them. But we just don't know how they're going to play over the next few weeks. Might get some confidence. Could possibly bring some new players in as well to get them going. And then might be a completely different side by the time we play them.
I think again, the more they're getting knocked down in the league, is the more dangerous they become in the cup. Because again, they're going to come to us they're the underdogs. They've got nothing to lose, which again is a dangerous thing. And I think in terms of like the dynamic that we might have after the restart is if we get keeping the back lane of games, they say Tuesday, Saturday. If we're about 3-4 games behind everyone else, and it puts quite a bit of pressure on us, which is not ideal. You want to be on a level playing field, but again, we need to thrive on that pressure of being 3-4 games behind and making sure we rally up them.
Yeah, I think the games in hand are a good thing for us in some ways, because I seem to recall us in the title winning season. I seem to recall us having games in hand then.
Yeah, we did actually.
Or maybe
Chester.
Chester was
scheduled for the 30th of March, wasn't it? And then it got moved.
Jesus Christ, how the hell do you remember that?
I don't, because I really wanted to go. Well, my birthday's the day before, so I always remember the game was supposed on my birthday. I've had some I don't want to talk about Gannon's birthday. It's not all about me, but Spennymoor at home, Sam Walker free kick. That was a great birthday weekend, I tell you what. But yeah, we have done well with rescheduled games actually. We
had Ashton United Tuesday night when we won the league, when we beat them 6-0.
Yeah,
Ashton United, good game.
Huge.
Good game.
That was part time as well.
Yeah, that was one of the games that got us on our way, wasn't it? Yeah, I seem to recall that. Was that after the Chorley game, I want to say? No, because that Chorley was a Tuesday
Chorley
night.
was one of the last games, I think.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
at home.
It was after. It was in December, wasn't it?
Actually, when I think about it, both with the times we played Chorley and Ashton were both close to each other both times, because I was on about Chorley at home, but we did play Ashton at home and then Chorley away.
Yeah.
Makes sense. We played them two both times, and actually that season, incredibly, Ashton actually beat Chorley. So
yeah, I
remember
that. And then it set us up, winning that game 6-0 set us up for, I tell you what an amazing festive period that was. When we went, I don't know how many games we won. I think we actually almost won. Yeah, we might have won all the games. And
Altrincham at home, the thing that clicks to my mind, that Paul Turnbull, Frank Malone goal.
So if Pogba does that, then it's all over the news, or Kevin De Bruyne and all of that. But no, because it's Paul Turnbull. You know what I mean?
With the back heel as well in the home game.
Yeah. Against Ashton?
Yeah. That was incredible. That I did not expect that at all.
A good goal. One thing I do remember about the festive period is the Alfreton away game, because we were woeful. We were poor that game. I think Billy Heath is another. I don't know how we've gone on to Billy Heath, but Billy Heath, I think, is another one of those called bogeymen. We cannot deal with him. You know what I mean? Him, Brackley, don't have a clue against him. Although Billy Heath, I actually think, stunted the growth of Tom Denton anyway, but that's just my personal opinion, because we all know Denton is a very, very, very good player. But yeah. Anything else, lads?
Can I say I'm just over the moon that we didn't get Brackley in the FA Cup draw.
That's
it from me.
That is a good point. We don't want Brackley at all.
We hate Brackley.
I never watched it on the game.
I'm so fun. Do you know how many times we beat him? We've been in the same league as him since dropping into non-league. Since dropping into the North. Do you know how many times we beat him? And can you name the game? That's my question.
I remember drawing against him. I don't remember beating him.
I think we beat them away 2-1.
I disagree with the score. I have 3-0 and Courtney Meppen Walters with 2 goals. I don't know about you, but I have that because I seem to recall listening to it on the radio that Courtney had scored 2 goals. I mean, Courtney. Do you know what? Every goal Courtney scored was a banger. I can think of Stalybridge away and Harrogate away. Harrogate away Boxing Day, I want to say.
Harrogate away.
Bangers, banging goals. Never scored a bad goal, although he was a very versatile player. I think it was actually Brackley at home or Harrogate at home that Jim played him centre-back, midfield and up front all in one game, which is the kind of versatility we want. Jim loves his versatility, and I think Courtney is that prime example of versatility at Stockport County. If we've got no more points, do we have any more points now?
No.
I'll take silence as a no. So thank you all for watching the second HattersChatters podcast in association with Hatters Matters. We'll link him in the description below. Thanks for watching, everyone. That's over. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the HattersChatters podcast. Just to let you know, we are also now available on Spotify, along with YouTube, so that you can listen to your weekly county roundup on the go. Thanks again for listening, and we'll hopefully see you next time.